In late 2018 to early 2019, Nintendo published their final batch of software for the 3DS. With it, multiple series saw their final farewell, one of which was Alpha Dream's critically acclaimed Mario and Luigi RPG series. Solely a handheld franchise, the death of the 3DS, to many, meant the death of the sub-series. Bowser's Inside Story was the last Mario title released on the Nintendo 3DS, the last Mario RPG of the 2010s, and later on Alpha Dream's final title. Unfortunately, due to being such a late title on 3DS, the title obviously failed to sell, releasing on the same day as New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe on the Switch. Clearly, one title was sacrificed for the other's success. There was very little word on Bowser's Inside Story's remake, or the future of the Mario and Luigi series for months, until October of 2019 when for the final nail in the coffin of Mario RPG came out as Alpha Dream closed its doors and was shut down. As time has gone on, there has been an incredible lack of faith in the future of Mario and Luigi as a series. Nintendo released Paper Mario the Origami King in 2020, even less faith in the franchise's future came about. Then months of nothing turned to years of emptiness. Aside from a single NSO drop, the future of Mario and Luigi seemed certain to be in a coffin. Until suddenly, in June 2023, over 5 years since Bowser's Inside Story's remake flopped, and close to 5 years since Alpha Dream's closure, Nintendo announced a Super Mario RPG remake. Finally, a chance, not just for Mario RPG and for Mario and Luigi, but all sorts of other Mario RPG games. Super Mario RPG's remake came and went. It received mass praise, high scores, incredible reception, and most importantly, broke sales records. Then, Nintendo announced Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, and it was being remade for Switch, a game people have been clamoring for decades, and again, released, received mass praise, high scores, yet slightly lower sales. The hope for Mario and Luigi had never been higher. 2 Mario remakes, with both selling great to good, Nintendo could create a trifecta. They could go for the hat trick. 3 Mario RPGs released in the span of a year, something crazy, something unfathomable, and to someone who lived with the seeming death of Paper Mario, the definite death of Mario and Luigi, and the decay of Super Mario RPG would have been incredible. Alas, Nintendo would go for the hat trick, though not without a slip-up. Eventually, they revealed Mario and Luigi Brothership, the return of Mario and Luigi as a franchise, in a brand new game for the first time since Paper Jam. The stage was set, the ball was in the fans' court, and it was up to them to either put up or shut up. There weren't hiccups at first. For most people, the game looked too good to be true. Visually, Mario and Luigi Brothership looked perfect, as if the series had never been in 2D. The art style seemed to be translated perfectly. The original characters looked interesting, the story seemed intriguing, and for the first time in a decade, there was hype over a new Mario and Luigi RPG. Not a remake for a dead platform, but finally a brand new story, with new enemies in a new world. Leading to the release, the game seemed too good to be true. The balloons too high to pop. Eventually though, something came along. Maybe you've heard of IGN, the most popular review site for video games in most pop culture? Well, they put a review for Mario and Luigi Brothership, and they give it a 5 out of 10. Ignoring every other positive review, this one was too harsh to push away. Despite how deflated the review made people, I will step in and say this. The reviewer was wrong. I don't hate IGN or anyone, frankly. This reviewer, however, flagrantly lied about the game and must have been misinformed. The IGN review was so out of context and so odd, so much was inaccurate. The hype balloon was still popped though, and the commentary on Brothership was damaged. I didn't want to mention the review scores for the game. I don't talk about other reviews in any of my videos on this channel, but you practically have to when talking about Mario and Luigi Brothership. The online reviews have poisoned the conversation surrounding this game to a degree I've never seen before. With the context out of the way, how about I actually tell you what I thought though? At first, I saw the IGN review, the review everybody saw. 5 out of 10. My entire playthrough for a while at least focused on either proving or disproving this one specific reviewer. I think most people who saw that review and others like it also played the game this way. I can't tell you whether Mario and Luigi Brothership is a good game. I know for a fact it's not great, but I know for a fact it's not bad either. Is it the best Mario RPG on the Switch? If you're only counting original ones, then yes, it is. However, if you aren't, I'd say easily the Thousand Year Door and Super Mario RPG's remakes are both better, in story and humor in particular. There are areas where Brothership excels. It has incredible world building, it has pretty decent music, a really interesting story if unoriginal too. For a long amount of my run time, I really enjoyed Brothership. In the first 3/3 of the game, the combat is honestly perfect. The battle plug system is a little tedious, but adds a lot of extra flair to the franchise. Without it, the game is not nearly as fun. The bros attacks are not enjoyable, however every attack with Mario and Luigi is its own bros attack now. A basic hammer swing now uses both brothers as an object, a single jump now involves leaping off of one another. I really like the combat here. Compared to any other Mario RPG, it's super fun. Enemies early on are easy enough to counter, and combat never slows for most of the playtime. Even at Brothership's best, I need to preface that it's good for most of the playtime, as eventually it isn't. There is one aspect of Brothership that is always amazing, and it's the story. The story of bonds between friends, enemies, the world, islands, and of course brothers was simply heartwarming. Connie is such a wholesome character and really sells the power of bonds. Your guide in this game is Snetlet, who really adds to the game's humor. Also, he's got a great moment I won't spoil. Truthfully, the story here isn't original, but I still loved how it was told. A world of islands disconnected from each other as the world itself has grown separate and lonely is needed now more than ever, and I truly think Mario and Luigi Brothership would be a helpful game for kids to play. I honestly believe it would teach them some great lessons. Brothership isn't an entirely original game via its story, but I can't recommend everybody play Persona or Fire Emblem Engage, Final Fantasy, Life is Strange, Tales of, or any other series that touches on these themes, especially not Engage. I can recommend you try Mario and Luigi Brothership. Their story is fun. It is the best part of the game and nothing else comes close to it. I may not have loved the entire experience of Brothership, but I did thoroughly enjoy the storyline that connected it all. Mario and Luigi Brothership is long, it's drawn out, it's boring at times, and it's repetitive by the end. Most importantly, after 35 hours, to me personally, it stopped being fun. Almost every island in the game is some form of a dungeon, and most were quite enjoyable and unique to go through. Despite this, there are multiple I did not enjoy, and there are multiple that should not have existed. 16 islands was far too many, plus the lighthouses, plus the side quests, plus the islets, plus the backtracking, and the end result is a bloated and stretched out RPG. The best way to play Brothership is an hour here and there. It's what I did and I didn't hate it so much. If I tried to play it back to back, 4 to 3, 5 hours a day, in a week or two, I wouldn't have had as much fun and I'd probably have been more negative. There are obvious pluses, everyone has praised the combat as I did before. It's pretty fun. Sometimes it genuinely sucks though, and when the room of it sucking, the entire game becomes a slog. The entire final act to me represented that. Sometimes I should have countered attacks and they failed to connect. It happened a lot and was extremely unbearable. Mario RPGs have had issues of enemies with too much health as well, and Brothership does too. Basic enemies during the final 2 dungeons take forever to beat, forever to get through, only to be hit by another one 2 seconds later. After a certain point, I began skipping enemy encounters because as fun as the combat loop is, it only is fun if it's quick. The multiple enemies I avowed take forever to finish their attacks later on. These aren't just bosses, but basic late game enemies too. Could I have played the game better, gotten good? Probably, but I shouldn't have had to grind even more than usual for a game that normally felt like a baby's first JRPG. Mario RPGs are usually good at that, being baby's first JRPG that is. The Thousand Year Door was one, so was Super Mario RPG, alongside the older Mario and Luigi games. Brothership feels fun most of the time. Kids would honestly love it, however there's times that tested me and my patience as someone who's clearly not a kid. I know I'm negative here and Brothership isn't awful, but my final experience was so soured. I genuinely loved Brothership. I was prepared to make a video praising it. I hope to put it on my Game of the Year list alongside the Thousand Year Doors remake, but I can't, because the last 10 hours were not fun for me. They dragged on so much. If I were to ignore those hours though, this game to me is great. It's why I'm so mixed on it. If 3/4 of a game is great but 1/4 isn't, how do you even rate it? Because there is so much love about Brothership. Everything until Zocket Fortress was pretty good to great. Everything after Zocket Fortress didn't feel good nor great. The backtracking to collect everyone's bonds may have ended in great moments, it also was pointlessly long for me. Did I need to visit Fire/Ice Island so many times throughout the game? No, I don't think so. But also, the story of those characters on that island was really engaging and pretty beautiful for this style of game. Mario and Luigi Brothership feels so close to perfect. I honestly think for a first try from Acquire, it is a very formidable attempt. If there was even more support from Nintendo, I think it could have been even better. Acquire, the studio behind the game, is very capable of great games. From co-developing the Octopath titles, the Tenchu and Way of the Samurai series, they have a pedigree with a history of high quality output. If there was even more support from Nintendo, I think it could have been even better. It's sort of a shame to me that Brothership was so close to standing alongside them only to somewhat miss it. For the first game in nearly a dead series, Brothership is surprisingly good. As a revival of Mario and Luigi post Paper Jam, it's seemingly great. As a standalone project, I can't say it's as good as possible. It seems that the team was much more focused on making it worth the title of Mario and Luigi Sans Alpha Dream with a price tag of $80/full price than actually focusing on making it the best game it could be. There is a moment before the final boss where you have to navigate invisible platforms and it goes on for too long. The level previously where you collected plugs also felt way too lengthened. Multiple islands feel overly long. The pacing of Brothership feels more honed in on being worth full price than being a solid but somewhat shorter game. What was the point of so much of the extra padding if it was always going to be 30 hours long at the minimum? It just made the game worse. I think Acquire's previous experience on the Octopath games could have been responsible for this, or it could be from Nintendo trying to move the series from budget handheld titles to full-fledged HD games. Am I being extremely hard on Mario and Luigi Brothership? Yes, I do like almost all of it still. It's got so many great moments, but the final product does wind up being a drag before the end. I feel bad because I liked so much of my playtime and I want to praise Brothership, but it's pretty difficult after beating it just a few hours ago at the time of writing. I can say one thing about Mario and Luigi Brothership, is that I think it will grow on people. It might take a while, but I think it will. I want to discuss the best elements of Brothership, of which there are many I haven't, but as it stands, I can't exactly. The game doesn't even have a bad ending. The actual ending post-boss fight is amazing. It's the slog before the boss that ruined it for me. Mario and Luigi Brothership is a mixed bag. Part perfect, part boring. I don't even dislike the game, but I did dislike my final hours with it. I'm not sure about Brothership. At the end of the day, I really liked part of my time, but I didn't love all of it. How can I truly recommend this game to people if I can't even say I'd recommend it to myself? Mario and Luigi Brothership is a good game, but it does get dragged down. I still think it sticks the landing most of the time, but more than once does the game get off course and grind to a halt. I genuinely feel wrong for dumping on this game to the degree I have. By no means is Mario and Luigi Brothership a bad game. It's simply a heavily flawed one. Anyways, I hope you're able to like the game more than me. I did like Mario and Luigi Brothership, but it's a little too long, and that really showed the flaws to me personally. If you enjoyed the video, you could like it, or comment your thoughts down below. If you want to see more from me, you can subscribe to my channel, or view either of the videos on the side of the screen right now. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.